Welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time you're seeing any of my videos, my name is Wandunji, and today we're starting something new, something amazing. Today is the first of the WILAW series. It just doesn't sound right. What I learned about writing. I'm trying to make it a thing, okay? Today is the first in this series where I am going to be studying a book. I'm going to be studying a book to figure out how I can make my stories better. The reason why I'm doing this is to supplement the knowledge that I'm curating off the internet, mostly from YouTube and some from writerly people's blogs, because I want to make my writing better. Currently, my plan is not to go back to university to study writing because for some reason, me and professors, it's not a love story. That's for sure. I have chosen this particular method of information that's online. I'm signed up to masterclass.com to learn from people who are great storytellers. If you want an extra month and you want to sign up on masterclass.com, there's a link in the description box below that you can use to do exactly that. Get your extra month. I get an extra month too, so. This month I have decided on The Insatiable Machine by Zoe Robertson and Jessie Life, and I looked for them online, but you can't find a lot of information about them. I found her website and I found their publisher, but not a lot of information about how they collaborated to create this work. If you are the kind of person who is put off from a book because there are spoilers, there's another video you can watch, and it's right here. I'll see you later. But if you're okay with spoilers or you don't think that you're going to be reading The Insatiable Machine, then let's go, let's learn. I'm going to read the blurb for you as it is on Amazon. Wave goodbye to the American dream. Just a heartbeat into the future, America is being dragged to its knees by social unrest and economic inequality. The furious pace of technological advancement has made medicine capable of near miracles, but has also enabled the widespread displacement of workers by automated systems. As unemployment and poverty levels rise to dangerous heights, those with fortunes to lose are pitted against those with nothing left. The threat of rebellion looms greater every day. When a chance meeting in a Washington, D.C. slum leads journalist Richard LaPointe to a heinous discovery, he and his wife, internationally respected physician and medical technologist Allie McKay, start down a path that exposes just how far those in power will go to protect themselves from the impending crisis. When their daughter, Sky, an online video activist sensation, gets involved after pulling off a spectacular protest stunt, they are all plunged into a world in which no one is safe. What they find behind the curtain is not an America made great again. It is an empire in ruin. Today I'm going to talk about the prologue of this book and what lessons it's teaching me about considering writing a prologue. In the prologue, we are introduced to a character called Carl Hutchinson who hates running. We land smack dab in the middle of a foot race. He is taking off, but can't really run. But he is doing his level best to get far away. And you find out that he is running away from his house. As he came home, he found that there were police cars parked in front of his house. He found police cars with lights, and there was police tape around the building entrance. And he was just like, oh no, they found me. And so he starts running. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what did you do, Kurt Hutchinson? Did I call him Carl before? His name is Kurt! What did you do, Kurt Hutchinson? What did you do? If you did something wrong, then they need to get your ass. What corner are you hiding in? I'm calling the police. He's running, and he hears heavy footsteps behind him and people shouting his name and pointing, whatever. He goes around a corner and then ducks into a shop. He believes that he can hide in the shop away from the people who are looking for him, realizes too late that there's a woman in like floral garb inside the shop who's with the guys who are chasing him. I love how they described how he realized what was happening in that moment. It wasn't until she was within earshot that he realized he should be afraid of her. Speaking quietly into her sleeve, her lips took the unmistakable shape around the terrible words, "Got him." He turns to run away, but she grabs him, she grabs his arm, she presses some nerves. I didn't know there were nerves in your elbow that could basically make you faint. So she grabs his elbow, She drags him onto the elevator and tells him, "Dude, we don't have long. Give me your phone. Where is it?" And he's like, "I don't have it." And she told him, "That's how we've been tracking you. So give me your phone. Otherwise, they're going to find out I'm the one who's been giving you the secrets." And he's like, "What?" After she outs herself like that to him, saying she's the one who's been passing him information, she says, "When I first contacted you, I directed you to a payphone on Irving Street. In that conversation, I told you there are two types of journalists, the propagandists and the persecuted. How do you feel about your choice, Mr. Hutchinson?" He ends up handing his phone to her and she disappears. He is left alone, and then he hears someone behind him, "Get your hands up in the air! Kneel down!" Cop shouting, I don't know. He gets down on his knees, somebody stomps on his back and handcuffs him, and he's taken off. And the last thing he's thinking of is the question that the whistleblower asked him. "How do you feel about your choice, Mr. Hutchinson?" And that's where the prologue ends. It was very short, very quick, very engaging. It grabbed you and gave you so many things to think about. Right away, there were things that were introduced that you need answers to. The whistleblower is talking about something, cryoglobulinemia or something, anemia. Cryoglobulinemia. Cryoglobulinemia? He's written about something, and now he's going to be persecuted. He made a choice, but we don't know why this is important. We don't know why cryoglobulinemia. We don't know why that's important. Why it's important to the story, like, who is this guy? And there are just so many questions, and you want to know what happens. What happens to him? What did he do that was so wrong? And so that is how this book is introduced to you. The first thing that this prologue has done is that it has introduced the tone of the story. We know this happens all the time. Companies, big corporations have secrets, and they do not want their secrets to go out into the public, and they will do almost anything to make sure that those secrets don't go anywhere. There's a big company, there's a journalist, there's a whistleblower, like all the elements of a great thriller. There's also a little bit of world building because you get to see the environment through which he is running. And it's not complete, but it gives you a glimpse, like a small introduction to what it is like to live in the place where Carl Hutchinson is running about. In this prologue, they have also made the biggest contract that can be made with a reader. And that contract is, shit has gone down. Something drastic has happened. And if you turn the page, I will tell you what's going to happen next. One of the things that I have found in some books that I have read recently is that you'll be given a prologue where something exciting like this is happening. And it sets a certain tone. You're expecting that the answers are going to be given right away in the first chapter. That is the reason why you turned to chapter 1, because you want to see the questions that I had before, are they going to be answered in this next chapter that I read? And I have found, in my experience, that it is best if I get at least some of the answers before the first chapter ends. I have to know. Like, it can't suddenly go into world building. You can't suddenly fall into somebody's memory or see the scenes or whatever, visit the city in a different kind of way. That doesn't help because immediately I'm lost. Where are the answers? I'm rushing through to look for where the answers are. So it's important that the promise that you made, the contract that you make with the reader in the prologue, you have to at least continue to give little breadcrumbs to keep the reader engaged in their mind. Because I can tell you this, there are some books that I have thrown in the do not finish pile faster than you can click your fingers because I didn't get the answers that I needed. My story does not have a prologue, because I wanted to write a great chapter 1 that got you straight into the story and continued the story from that point. Whereas a prologue sometimes is separate, or sometimes that information comes a lot later in the book, which frustrates readers like me. And since I want to write the kind of books that I want to read, I'm not including a prologue. I don't want the reader to be in so much anguish as they wait to find out what happened. When you are writing your book, do you start out with a prologue? Is that where you put sort of the idea for this book, the original seed of the idea for this book? Do you pick out an action sequence in your story and then put it in the prologue? Do you put the prologue in after you finish the book? Do you put the prologue in first? What is the reason why you are putting a prologue in your story? And that is a very important thing to think about. If your first chapter is not interesting enough or catching enough, that is not a reason to include a prologue. If the questions that were posed in the prologue are not continued in the first chapter, it is very likely that you will lose the interest of the reader. And that happens for me. If the prologue is amazing, I will definitely go to chapter 1, but you better give me something. Because I'm not reading through lengthy chapters looking for the answers to the questions that I found in the prologue. That's not going to happen. The other thing that you can do with your prologue is foreshadowing. So these are some of the questions that I have had to ask of my own story, which I am calling henceforth with the robot story. Do I need a prologue? My answer to that has been no. And for the reasons that I mentioned before, I wanted a strong chapter 1 that leads into chapter 2, that leads into chapter 3, which most prologues do not do. They just provide a microcosm of the world in which this particular story is built, provides historical context. It should not provide the main contract, the main mystery of this story, but it can introduce the tone of the story, what you're trying to write. But that decision, of course, remains with the person who is writing this piece of work, because your work may need a prologue, a kind of side story or an introduction, historical context, a scene maybe that has vital information that doesn't fit properly in the flow of your story. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that you have a little bit more information about prologues. Also, I hope I've raised some questions in your mind. Does your story need a prologue? If it needs a prologue, why? Is there some bit of your story that you need to tell that doesn't fit in the plot? Do you have a different point of view you want to introduce? Is there some other state of your protagonist that you want to include as part of your discussion, as part of your introduction? The other thing also is not to rule it completely out. Even if you have a strong chapter 1, have there been any prologues that you have absolutely loved? I would love to read them. Go ahead and leave them in the comment section, the book that you read with a prologue that was just amazing. And also I have some resources that I am going to include in the description box below, because we all have different brains. We're going to read articles and get different things from them. But these are all important towards our learning, towards making our stories better, which is why I include them for you to go ahead and study. Let me know if you find any of these interesting. I will be continuing to read The Insatiable Machine. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next time. I will be continuing to read The Insatiable Machine, and anything that pops up to me, I will bring to you so we can discuss. We can figure out what's happening, understand this better. And let me know if this has whet your appetite for The Insatiable Machine. I am very excited to get into it, and I'll be telling you more about it in subsequent videos. Don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you have not yet subscribed, I encourage you to go ahead and click the subscribe button. And don't forget, there's that little bell icon. Click it. When I upload a new video, we can learn together again, which I think is amazing. All right, I'm out. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.